Boom, boom. This is Ken, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. All right, let's go. I got Azur laid up on tap today. Let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about the ships since the event is almost over. The event's going to be ending tomorrow evening, so want to make sure that you can try to get your hands on some ships. And we'll go over a little bit about each ship here, and I'll tell you which ones you definitely want to try to get. So you should be able to get set up pretty good. So this is definitely going to be the 6th fleet. Is the way it's looking at, because this is of course the second Northern Parliament event, but there's going to be another event, and we still haven't got the actual battleship flagship, which is Soyuz, Sovietskaya Soyuz. So, but they've got the setup to make them into the 6th fleet in the game that will be useful, and you get a little bit of backstory in this event as well too. So if you're interested in the story, this is a good event to pick it up. So let's go ahead and talk about the ships. I've got most of them. I have not managed to get my hands on Khorovod yet, so we'll have to talk about Khorovod here shortly. So let's take a look at first ship here. So we'll deal with the Sovietskaya Belarusa. Now, she's a pretty good ship. Actually, a little bit better than pretty good. She's a very good ship, but she unfortunately has a problem. Okay. She's very similar to Monarch, which is a PR ship, priority ship. I've got Monarch and I've got her fully maxed out. So in that regards, I'm okay. But if you do not have Monarch, or if you're still working on her, this is a good placeholder that you can use in her place, because the design is very similar. She's got a slow with a barrage, a 20% firepower boost. So, she's got a self-heal, so she's survivable. You're not going to have to worry about her dying too quick, okay? The problem is that her barrage is it's a little bit wonky, actually. If the boss is stable, which means the boss doesn't move, like some bosses come out, you'll see them come out, they'll come out in the center of the screen, and that's pretty much where they stay, pretty much for the entire battle. But in higher levels, the boss is very movable, and it will move up and down the screen. In that case, the barrage is bad because it does not hit very often at all. It has very poor performance because her barrage is it does not have a large area of effect. It has virtually none. So basically, you have to put her pretty much in the center of the flagship position for her to be effective. But unfortunately, Sovietskaya Belarusia is not going to be the flagship of the Northern Parliament. That is Sovietskaya Soyuz, who has not came out yet. So once Sovietskaya Soyuz comes out, Sovietskaya Belarusa is going to not be very good, because you're going to have to move her either up or to the bottom, and unfortunately that's going to make her barrage virtually useless. So if you put her in a flagship position, you're in good shape. It's probably going to hit more than often than not, and you will get some good damage from it, comparable to Monarch. Problem is, like I say, she's not going to be there for very long, because once Sovietskaya Soyuz comes out, we're probably going to have to move her. So unfortunately, that hurts the ship a little bit. But she is still a good ship, so you definitely want to get Belarusia, and you want to level her up, get her ready. There is the synergy, of course. Once the synergy comes in, once we get Soyuz, who's going to be the flagship, we're going to get some synergy. So she might be usable, and maybe that will help as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the next ship that you want to be focusing on. Khorovod is not a bad ship either, but unfortunately, she gets a buff. Okay. Her first barrage will give a buff to the entire fleet. However, it's only for once a game. Most of the damage buffs that you get from other ships, for Helena retrofit, for instance, is it continues every time she fires a barrage. This just fires a barrage once, gives the buff, and then it's not applicable anymore throughout the fight. So against a boss, that's not good, because very seldom are you going to kill the boss on the first barrage. Just not. It's going to take multiple barrages to bring down the boss. That's why it's a boss. So, where Helena is better is Helena keeps doing it each time she fires her barrage, the retrofit version of her. So she's just a lot better in terms of that. So, Khorovod, she's an average ship, but we have to wait and see how the Northern Parliament fleet is going to come together in terms of buffs and synergy. Okay, might make her a lot better, so we'll have to wait on that. But you definitely want to try to get her. I have not managed to get her yet. She's the I think she's the only one that I don't have, so I'm going to have to step up my builds here for the next couple of days, today and tomorrow, to make sure that I do get her before it comes out. I've got several Belarusas, several Grimyaskis, and I think 2 Murmansks. But as you can see, I've got Belarusia, Murmansk, Grimyaski, and I'll have Gromki. I need 2 more levels before I can fully enhance her, so I'll have her fully maxed out. I've also completed all of the using the previous ships, Hornet, Saratoga, Aurora, and Sheffield in those events, so I've got all of those as well. So even if I don't care of, I still will be able to complete the event and get the chat screen, even though I won't use it, but I did it. So I went ahead and had the mats, so I went ahead and did it and leveled all of the ships up and fully limber break Gromki. I've got Talon. I haven't put Talon in the actual favorites yet, so let me go down here and get Talon. Right here's Talon. I just went ahead and purchased her in the shop today, so I can just start working on getting her leveled up, because I got to get her to 70 before I can fully limber break her, so I need to make sure I get her up there before the event ends. You got 7 more days before the mission events will disappear, so you have another 7 days to get Talon out of the shop, and you need to get Talon out of the shop, and let me tell you why. Okay, now first of all, you need to make sure that you're using the prototype triple 203 millimeter or the twin 203 millimeter esquisse, okay, because she gets with those guns, she gets a huge damage increase, a huge damage overall. That makes her one of the strongest ships in this event. Okay, talking top tier tank with damage. So you definitely want to make sure you get those 2 guns on her. Remember that. So it's a prototype triple 203 millimeter SKC and the twin 203 millimeter SKC. So make sure that you put those guns on her, okay, so that you get the buff. All right. So yeah, and she's top tier tank. Okay. Her survivability is very impressive. Okay. So she's comparable to Rune. Okay. All right. She's, some people are considering her a little bit better than Rune, which Rune's a priority ship. Okay. Talon's in the shop. So if you did this event, you should have enough Arcana cubes to get Talon. So you can basically get PR'd up a ship without having to do the, the build, development, build, get all the all the blueprints and the mats and all that stuff to do it. You can do that simply by getting the points, by running the events, getting 8,000 and purchasing her in the shop, which is what I did because I had not built her yet. Talon and Khorovod have not been built. But yeah, so she is probably the best ship in this, simply because Sovetskaya Belarusa and Talon are even, but because of Sovetskaya Belarusa's weakness on her barrage not being able to hit unless she's in the fact position, puts Talon a little bit above. So she is, yeah. So you've got a Rune equivalent ship, and you can get her from within the shop. So you don't have to get lucky and build her. This is a guaranteed get. So you definitely want to pick her up in the shop. Okay. So if you don't build her, she's buildable. But if you don't build her like I have not, then we want to go forward and get her in the shop. All right. So there was another event that came out with the actual event, and that is Pamiat. Let me see if I can find her. She got a retrofit. I'm not exactly sure where Pamiat Mercury is at, so it's going to give me a few seconds here to track her down. She got a retrofit. I was unaware of this retrofit. I just found out about it a couple days ago. I've actually used her in some cases because she was a mediocre tank. Okay, problem with her was the fact that she didn't really have any damage output, but that's been fixed with the retrofit. They've given her a plus 45 buff to her damage. There she is right here. So she now has retrofit capability. So this is definitely something that you want to do. Okay, she's got more HP and she gets anti-air and a plus 45 firepower. Okay, so that this gives you greatly damage output, and it's going to make her pretty much the best light cruiser in the game. And the reason is because see, late game bosses They deal damage in bursts. So basically, when the boss does its burst, you'll notice when the boss does a burst because the screen will just go wild with shells and torpedoes flowing all over the screen, hitting everything in their path, and you have to be able to survive those. Okay, so Pomiat has the ability to tank burst the heavy bursts that these bosses throw out. Okay, because she has 100% evasion with this. Okay, so basically, she's not going to get hit. Okay, because of her 100% evasion. Okay, so she's also going to be excellent inside of Operation Siren. Okay, she's a light cruiser that you can take in there now with that high evasion. She's actually got the same survivability as Maze, and Maze is a priority 3, a season 3 priority ship. She's one of the top of the game. I've got her built. I'm currently getting the blueprints for her. She's an awesome ship. She has excellent survivability. Okay, but she's not a light cruiser. Okay, so so the skill's random where she gets it. So it might not work, but from what I'm hearing is it procs quite often. So having 100% evasion for the length, it just makes her an awesome ship. So definitely you want to raise her up, do the retrofit, and because she's better than most of the priority ships. Okay, with that evasion. So this makes her one of the best, and she's a northern Parliament ship. So when Soyuz comes out, she's going to get the buff, and the buffs that are currently being offered by some of the other ships, she will be benefited as those as well, making her a definite frontline ship. And right now, most people are considering her to be the best light cruiser in the game right now. So this is definitely something that you want to focus on. I'm going to go ahead and do it. As I say, I liked her before. I just was unimpressed with her damage. But with a plus 45 firepower, with her destroyer gun, that gives her excellent, damage output. And she can 45 fire is going to be able to break most shields. Okay, and then the fact that she has a skill that if procs can be 100% evasion, which means bosses, she's going to, the boss is not going to hit her. Basically, 100% evasion is almost immortality during its activity because she's not going to get hit. So that makes her survivable on the front line. And what do we always say? Front line dies, back line. You lose your front line, back line goes down pretty shortly after that. So you can't. You got to keep that front line up, which is why I like my Ironblood fleet, because my front line is the Vanguard on my Ironblood fleet is like 14,500. They're very, very tanky because I've got 3 extremely tanky ships on there with Rune U, and Prince Heinrich. So this is going to make the Northern Parliament ships equivalent to making them into a fleet. So we're seeing that they definitely want to make them into the 6th fleet. And once we get Soyuz, which will be the flagship, then we'll have to see. I'm hoping they give Soyuz the same treatment that they gave Nagato and your Bismarcks and stuff like that, where you get a huge buff for the entire fleet. Like Queen Elizabeth. You get the buff for the fleet to make synergy more compatible. Because I like to build a fleet that has all of the ships from that particular division in the fleet. So that's what I like to do. So this looks like that's the way they're leaning, and they've given you the ships, and this right here definitely firms up the capability of using them as a fleet. So you definitely want to work on Pomiat's retrofit and get that taken care of. Now the other ships, Romance turned out to be a little bit of a bust. Okay, her stats, their stats are below average. Okay, but she gets a little bit of a damage boost with her skills. So she's not she's not terrible, but she's not great either. So you have to take that with what. Grabyatsky is a destroyer. Okay, so unfortunately, that puts her on the wrong foot immediately because there is no destroyer meta in this game. They just don't survive. Okay, but she does have above average stats. Okay. And a 25% chance on the torpedo for a double fire, which makes her a little bit nice. She's actually close to the Javelin and Javelin's retrofit stage, but again, she's a destroyer. But for early game, she's a really good destroyer. Okay, it's it is what it is. So get her for collective purposes. but as of right now, not something that you know would probably want to look at in terms of that. Okay, so you know it is what it is. And then last we got Gromkly. Okay, now uh, Gromke has a heal. Okay, she can heal another ship when it falls below 20%. Okay, health. Okay, and her stats are a little bit above average. So in mob fleet, she's not a bad ship to do. So when you're farming, and when you like when you're farming and your health can get a little bit low, she has some healing that she can give you that. Um, but you know she's not going to be something that you're going to probably focus on in terms of in game. She just has a really cute theme with a little raccoon sitting on her head, which is pretty cool. But other than that, you know, low level farming, new player, yeah, she might be something that you want to look at if you need a little bit of healing. But in terms of late game, no, she's not something like that. So we do have the makings of a fleet here. So you, like I say, you definitely want to get Talon. Definitely want to get Sovetskaya Belarusa. And you definitely want to get the Pomiat retrofit done, definitely. Okay, and then like I said, Kurov's not bad. Okay, Khorov, if you get her, you can use her. She's got that buff, so she can be helpful. And then we're just going to have to wait to you know until Soyuz comes out and see exactly how much of a buff and how much of a center she gives to the fleet. Okay, because we've already got Aurora, as I'm sure you're aware of, as well too. Aurora's not a bad ship either. So yeah, there's capability in there, and there's definitely some Sixth Fleet capability and planning going on. So we'll just have to see which way they go. So that is the ship review for the event. I'm sorry I got it out so late, but been working on some other stuff in terms of you know, because we had a lot of events going on at the same time, and this was a really long event, so it just basically had to buckle down and do it. Okay, and it ends tomorrow evening, so you got today and tomorrow. So if you don't have enough to get in the shop and get a copy of Talon, you definitely want to do that. And this gun is an okay gun. Okay, so if you're looking, you know, if you're looking to get it, it's yeah, you can get this. It's the highest DPS destroyer gun. Okay, so it's not a bad gun in any term. However, it has a slow rate of fire, which is what makes it not so good. You know, so when you do what the problem with this gun is, pretty much every one of the ships that use it has an all-out assault skill. Unfortunately, this because it doesn't help. Okay, you get 3 or 4 less shots on the all-out assault over a 90-second period, roughly, with this gun. Okay, so you know your best bet would be to go if you go to D3 and the SP map, you can farm for the 152 millimeter. Okay, it could be used by light cruisers and battleships. So you know it's a useful gun and it works a little bit better. Like I say, this Twin 130, that's why they're offering it in the shop, is because it does have the highest DPS by about I think it's like 15%. I think is what, maybe 10 or 15%. But because of its slow rate of fire, in the end, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't make it, you know, it doesn't make it like you definitely need this gun. But if you have enough, you should actually get it. Okay. But if you don't get it, don't, you know, like, don't panic or anything and like say, oh, I just lost the best gun in the game. It's just, you know, it has some weaknesses. But if you can get it and you got the cubes to get it, and I think I'm going to, you should go ahead and pick it up because it is the highest DPS in the game. Okay, but if you know, just understand that if you're using it with you know with a ship, put it on a ship that has all-out assault, it's not going to be as effective as some of the other maybe lower efficiency guns might be with slightly lower DPS. Because of the fact of how its slow rate of fire. Okay, so that's all I want to say about that. But yeah, if you can get it, you should, because it is the highest DPS. And if you put it on a you know, a light cruiser battleship that does not have all-out assault, you know, you should get some very good use out of it. So you definitely want to get it in that case, if that's what you're planning on putting it on. Okay, so that's it. But yeah, everything else. But you definitely want to get a Talon. Definitely want to get Talon because she is PR ship quality, and you can get her for just 8,000. So as you can see, I've got enough cubes. So make sure you farm enough to get 8,000 so you can snatch her up. and try to get 10 if you can, just so you can snatch up the gun as well, because it's being offered, and it is a really good gun in terms of DPS. So it's definitely something that you want to look at. All right, so I hope that explains everything. Good event, and it looks like this is going to be the 6th fleet. Okay, so as I was saying, it now seems to be on what they've done and what they are doing. It looks like they're definitely going to make this a fleet that can be usable. And we'll just have to wait until Savitskaya Soyuz comes out, and we'll see what she's going to offer as to whether or not it's something that you want to focus on. But I've decided that I probably will be focusing on it simply because I like the designs of these ships. Very, very good designs. And I don't have a Russian fleet. So in case you're wondering, that's what Northern Parliament, Northern Fleet is a representation of. It's representative of Russia. I'm sure you've got that if you do the event, because you in the first cut scene, when you start the event, it says that Savitskaya Soyuz is not here because she's been called back to Moscow. And if you're familiar with geography, you should know that Moscow is the capital of Russia. So if she was called back to Russia, she called back to Moscow, she's obviously in Russia, so it's a Russian fleet. So just if you didn't catch that, or if you have not done the event, the Northern Parliament, Northern Fleet is a representation of the Russian fleet. Okay. All right, so that's what I got for that. All right, I hope everybody got that information, and I'm definitely saying it's something that you want to focus on and try to get these ships and try to get them built. So you got till tomorrow evening, so get those cubes out and build away. All right, so this is Kenrir, and I'm coming at you from the corner. I want to thank you all for watching the video. Anything you can do, if you want to like or share the video, would be much appreciated. So this is Kenrir. I'm coming at you from the corner, signing out.